Whenever you're ready.
We're in vain. My parents wanted to have 4 kids, each 2 years apart. So they had my brother, and then just as they had hoped, they had me 2 years later. But there is a 6-year gap between me and my younger brother. My mom likes to say it's because I was so strong-willed and has many stories to tell, one of them being her favorite, of which I locked her out of the car to avoid discipline when I was 2 years old. So one night at the age of 6, my mom talked to me about how my self-loving, self-focused ways had caused a rift in the relationship between myself and God. And that God sent Jesus, his only son, to fix that. And Jesus came to earth, and he lived a perfect life, and he died on the cross for me and for my sin, for my disobedience and my heart ugliness, which was sin. But then he defeated death by raising from the dead 3 days later. And I sought forgiveness that night for my self-focused ways, and he offered forgiveness freely for my sins. And God changed my heart. He did a new work in me and made me sensitive to his ways, just as 2 Corinthians 5:17 states. It says that if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, the new things have come. In fact, I remember after that time writing a note of an apology to my mom for my actions because God had changed my heart. And I became more sensitive to God's ways and less sensitive to my own ways. My growth in the Lord over the last 30 years could be characterized as slow and steady. I can look back and see his faithfulness and truly see how during the difficult times and the good times, he has drawn me to himself and strengthened my relationship with him. Does that mean that I'm perfect in my relationship with Christ? No. Absolutely not. My old self-ways rear their ugly head often. But I'm thankful for Jesus and the Spirit he has given us and the power to overcome my ways and to choose a life that puts God's ways first. In the Bible, in Galatians 5:1, it says that when we are forgiven, Christ has set us free to stand firm and not to submit again to the yoke of slavery of sin. And Jesus offers that same forgiveness to all people. When we accept the grace that he freely gives, he changes us. And he gives us the power to say no to our old ways and to say yes to his. Now, 30 plus years later, God daily uses my marriage and my kids to show me that I still need his transforming work in my life every day. Luke 9:23 says that whoever wants to be Christ's disciple must take up his cross and follow him. Sometimes when I hear the testimony of God radically changing people's lives, I believe the lie that my testimony isn't as valuable because God didn't save me from that. But he did. He kept me from that. He, in his wisdom, allowed me to experience life change when I was 6 years old. And at that time, he placed in my heart a new desire from what my old self wanted and changed my heart to a new desire to glorify him and to live his way. I think God must have a sense of humor because my youngest is very much like I was. He knows that he knows what he wants, and he is unyielding. And yet, I pray that just as God used my mom to point me to Christ and my need for Christ, that my son and all of my children would be able to experience the Lord's forgiveness from their sins, and that God will transform their desires from their ways to his. And by his grace, they can enjoy the fullness of life that God intends them to experience. And I pray the same is true for you today as well. If you haven't changed from your old ways to your new ways, I'd love to talk about how Christ could do that for you. Thank you.